How much does a road trip and living out of your truck for a month at a time actually cost? Today in this video, I'll be going through that, but first, an introduction. Hello, my name is Gavin, but you can call me Gav. For the past few months, me and my Alaska Malamute, Wilson, who's the fluffiest boy in the world, have been traveling across the country in this rig. It is a TRD Toyota Tacoma second generation with a pop-up four-wheel camper on the back, and then towing behind we have a shower trailer. This right here is the rig that shattered the golden handcuffs that kept me locked in a boring life. It gave me the freedom to hit the road and once again enjoy every day like I was a child again. I lost my job at the end of the government shutdown in October. And this was my unfortunate stars aligning, which opened up the opportunity for me to go live on the road without any burdens, responsibilities, or anything like that. So I took full advantage of it and like to think that I took life by the horns and made something good out of something bad. Now, 3 months into this trip, I couldn't be more pleased with that decision. And with that, I have calculated all of the expenses I spend on a monthly basis to live out of this truck. The number one expense is hitting especially hard right now. It is the price of gas. For gas, I have roughly $1,500 a month being spent on fuel. With this rig, I'm getting roughly 11 to 13 miles per gallon. Since the price hike, I've definitely slowed down the travel, less traveling, more setting up camp, and just kind of enjoying where I'm at. So it works out. Second biggest expense is maintenance. I've had to get the rear brakes redone in Oregon. I had to get the inner tie rod or control arm for the power steering redid here a couple days ago, and just your typical maintenance stuff. Things tend to break on the road, so you're constantly buying parts to repair that. So that's roughly $1,000 a month. Food, I try to buy in bulk. When I'm in bigger cities, I stock up. I try to frequent places like Winco Foods, which is very budget friendly, and I'm roughly spending $240 a month on my food. For propane, I use it to heat the camper, run the fridge, cook all my food, heat the trailer, heat my hot water for my shower, and that's $20 a month. It's usually pretty cheap anywhere I go. For insurance, I'm paying roughly $275 a month for both full coverage, and then I also have Good Sam, which is basically AAA for RVs and rigs like that, which is pretty cheap. Wilson cost me a whopping $347 a month, and that's for his food, his grooming, his supplements. I have a whole slew of digital tools that I use that are like subscriptions online, most notably ChatGPT, which I use to help with my video editing and fixing things in the truck that I don't really know what's going on. So that's been a vital tool, and other applications. Parking, I try not to go in any place that charges for parking, but usually once a month I'm stuck paying for a parking spot, so that's $30 a month. Camping, I have not stayed at a single camp spot this whole trip except for a blizzard in Stevens Pass, which was like $40 for a night. So in the 3 months I traveled, $40 a night, that's roughly $12 a month. I typically do the dispersed camping. I have the hookups, the solar, the water, to not need any civilization. So I'm able to go out to places like this and live completely independently, which is an incredible perk. And if you are kitting out a rig, I strongly suggest you do the same. Amazon, I do supply drops. There's lockers located everywhere, and I'm spending roughly $50 a month there. Audiobooks, $30 a month. I'm usually cruising through 2 a month. Gym, I'm paying $25 for a Planet Fitness membership, which allows me shower access to pretty much any major city in the world, which is an incredible advantage. While the shower trailer is nice, unlimited water is nicer. A phone, $100 a month. And that brings me to the total of $3,677 a month, roughly, burn rate, which is pretty good, being as that is all of my expenses that I have. I sold my house February 20th, So got rid of all of my debt, and that was $2,700 a month alone. So for roughly $1,000 more, I'm able to have the most freedom I've ever had in my life, which that is a small price to pay. So how can I afford all of this? I spent pretty much all of my 20s saving for early retirement. I was kind of gunning for 45. I did a really good job at just putting money away. I always had a good job. I was in six figures before I turned 21 and maintained that till I was 29. Over the past few years, even before losing my job, I kind of realized that time is the most valuable resource that we have. And I needed to take full advantage of it now. While I had my health, Wilson had his. I had enough money to get by. I figured this trip would be more rewarding than anything I could do with an early retirement. In addition to that, I got a severance from my job, which was nice, and then taxes came back. So I was able to pretty much do all of this without really even touching my savings, which is a huge advantage. But as time goes on and I get closer to going back home, I kind of think that I want to touch it. I want to use it because this is the most precious thing that's ever happened to me. So I got to figure that out. So in conclusion, living a life of no debt where savings was my number one priority, I was able to leverage that with a pretty massive support group behind me to pretty much take a risk-free leap to do this trip. And it was the most rewarding thing that's ever happened to me. So I would like to thank the people that are in my corner, notably my parents, my close friends that said I had what it takes to do this, because ultimately it pushed me to making this decision. It pushed me to getting the best life imaginable for both myself and Wilson. And I'm eternally grateful for that. And for you watching, if it's even on your radar of something you think you might want to do, I strongly urge you take that leap. No good story ever starts with someone saying, I put a lot of money in the bank and then never touched it. It's money you worked extremely hard for. Use it while you still have your health. Use it while you're guaranteed this freedom, because we never know what tomorrow has to offer. So do yourself a favor, run the numbers, and if this is the life that interests you, just take it one weekend at a time. But you got to get started. Thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in the other videos or the truck build or my camping experiences, take a gander at the page. There's a lot of cool videos on there, as well as like a daily short I like to upload of just explaining my travels for the day. And I think that's going to do it for me. See you guys at the next stop.